I think for Apex, it might be a little bit more tempo-tied. Like the scaling of Alchemist into an ultra late game scenario up against a Luna and a Puck can be a little bit rough. I mean, Void Spirit can kind of keep up. Marcy can transition to a secondary core. It just feels like your potential on MOUZ is a little bit higher if it drags out.
Here we go, John. There's a big smoke coming out from Apex Genesis. Wrap around through the Radiant Jungle, Radiant Triangle. They'll get a ward down on the cliff. They've barely missed out on running right into MOUZ, who are looking like they might just hang around the Dire Outpost by the Twin Gate. And now they'll go for their own smoke around that area, trying to loop around through the Dire Jungle. The thing is, I doubt Apex Genesis will move from this Radiant Triangle. They'll just hold the high ground. Oh, maybe they will. As I say it, they'll wait by the staircase for now. Sammy's gone on a run. Fade will join. They have no idea there is a smoked 5-man MOUZ Esports standing right above them, as Sammy's going to run into them in just a moment. But MOUZ, they will not break the smoke yet. Now they will, but Sammy will see them. Still, the disruption does come in. It won't matter, they've caught him, but can they lock him down long enough? Sammy, already down to half HP, still trying to run. He looks like he's in pretty big trouble as he is down. Bengun, in fact, Bengun was the one to secure first blood on the Phoenix, and now Bignum is gone. Olnet's still going for more, but Wish is down. They'll get Olnet eventually. Yamsun trying to heal up through this. May make it up based off the Wisp, so it's going to be a little bit of a slow return back to the lane or the base, as they will continue going now. Force looking for the kill, and it looks like they've got it. Yamsun also down, already to 4-1, the way of MOUZ Esports.
Yeah, it's a fantastic start for MOUZ. Sure, you have to sacrifice one kill towards Apex, but you get the runes in a very good trade. You get all of these kills racked up. You get some extra EXP coming out, of course, for all of these heroes, just a tad bit more. And you get to play your lanes a little bit better. I mean, Sammy, at very least, you know, you do go for seed money. You get a little bit more gold anyhow, but dying kind of feels pretty atrocious, of course, for the Alchemist. Your early stat items aren't going to be kicking in. You get, again, a little bit of a boost up into your early level spikes. You do have Force going for that crack and swell. And it is a little bit harder for Sammy to try to play aggressive in the lane. As long as Narman has that disruption, you're not going to be able to get off a well-timed unstable concoction to really maximize. And you're kind of hard-pressed to kill off someone like Force anyway, very early in the game.
Yeah, chances are that's not going to be happening anytime soon. Really, Sammy will want to farm anyway. Like, he's playing Alchemist. He's looking to hit a timing. Wants that early Radiance build up, and chances are he won't be looking for too many kills anyway. Of course, mid lane, you are looking at Wish versus Supreme, and it still should be Puck favored, but at least Wish can kind of dominate the CS against the Puck. Like, you are just going to have that inherent advantage as a melee hero. But so far, pretty even between these two mid laners.
I'd say there's a little bit more play potential for Supreme. You can always just dodge out some spells as best as you can. It's a little bit more costly for Wish to keep shoving this wave out. Supreme should also have early rune control in his advantage. At the very least, no one's going to be trying to snipe away from a Puck on water runes. Maybe power runes, where this kind of turns a little bit more on an even lane.
Top lane, he'll get the Fairy Fire off, and that's going to allow him the distance to survive. Sammy also throwing out the stun to ensure Narman could not continue stacking the Shadow Poisons. But times are tough here for Yamsun. This is not an easy lane for the Ench. The Shadow Demon generally will have his way with you. And that is exactly what Narman's doing. Really just playing here with Yamsun, who's trying to heal up the best he possibly can. But see, the level 1 Wisp's not the best either. So Yamsun not really going to heal up too much anyway. And Narman doesn't really take any harassment.
That was genius.
No. Again, it's a little bit rough, especially since Yamsun did go for Spellbound, so he doesn't have that additional healing and trading. Gets a little bit rougher to try to completely zone out Narman. Taking a look at that last lane down bot, a little bit of poking action here. So they will get the rebound off.
They do. Bengun, he's going to be alright. Bignum did not have the dispose ready to go. Already committed it a little bit earlier on. Of course, Olnet looks like he's going to have just as fine of a time. Like, he's currently 14-4 in terms of CS on this Luna. Of course, Fade is looking to deny as many creeps as humanly possible, and he's doing a decent job of it on this Enigma, but it still does feel like Olnet should be just fine in this landing stage, as long as he doesn't die. Bignum's going to jump in. Olnet, no dispose will come out. a bit of an awkward jump in because you didn't really have the Eidolons ready, and of course with the Fire Spirit spam from Bengun, it is going to be rather hard to actually get any right clicks off.
Yeah, I like the zoning Bengun's doing. It's ensuring that Allnet can actually just sit through that commitment. And the coordination here from the side of Apex, you need that rebound to go straight into a dispose, into the Malefice. You need that chain control. The Luna, it's not the furthest range target, so the rebound's always easy to land, but again, it's just this Phoenix that's acting as a big barrier here to provide Allnet with a playable lane. Mind you, it's not the fastest farming lane, but he is at least matching the pace we're seeing from Sammy Boy, and again, the Luna can scale up fast, although they'll try again.
They're going to try again. Allnet in trouble this time around. Looks like he should be set to fall, though he's trying to fight back here with Bignum, but it's no chance. Bengun trying his best to help out with those level 2 of Fire Spirits, but not going to be enough this time. It's now top lane. Yamsun will go down. Narman able to pick up his second kill of the game on the Shadow Demon. And again for Yamsun, like, the level 1 Nature's Attendant's just not going to help against Shadow Poison stacks of Narman. And hell, even as you go on with the levels of Nature's Attendants, it's not going to get that much better.
No, it certainly isn't. And it's been a little bit rough for Yamsun. It's just really strong lanes coming out here from the side of MOUZ. Force is just not going to be threatened. So Narman can always just sit away, poke, keep these camps blocked. Small camps constantly being rewarded. Down bot again.
They're going to get on Allnet. Fade was the one being jumped initially, but Bignum does get in with the rebound, and now the dispose. Allnet dropping a little bit low. Fade playing on edge, but here comes Nam. The TP attempt over. Bignum still dropping here to Bengun, and Fade is almost certainly dead here to Narman, as Allnet will secure the kill with the Lucent Beam. And well, somehow Bignum actually survived. In fact, he's going to jump back in onto Allnet. A very nice rotation here from Yamsun, able to at least trade the life of Bignum. Can he find Bengun? He's going to run in past the tier 1 tower with his enchanted creep, hoping for another seed shot. Seed shot up in 3 seconds. Bengun still trying to run. And with Icarus Dive, it looks like he's going to be just fine to make it out. The Yamsun will keep the Warpine Raider following him, but it's not going to be quick enough.
Yeah, and you've got to appreciate that movement out from Apex, getting some relief out. Great gate usage coming in there from Yamsun just to get some coverage down bot. He knows that top lane is also not a strong kill lane for something like the Tidehunter solo, so you can't afford to leave it 1v1 when you see that support rotation committed from the side of MOUZ. Still, overall, the start for MOUZ is still overwhelming. 7-3. In terms of CS, you are getting an even amount on both sides, with Sammy starting to pull ahead a little bit on the Alk. Should be expected in the solo lane. They are still looking for some commitment down bot, with some posturing out, with Narman still hanging around here. But
it's actually left though.
Yeah, I get why. They feel like it's better to just utilize your Luna's early farm potential. You've got the 202 at 4. Yeah, you have enough farming pace early on to just clear out these camps and play it safe. Look for more information before fully committing.
Well, they forgot about their Wisdom Rune here, Apex. Narman's making a run for it, and he's got the easiest steal of his life. And nobody rotates from Apex Genesis to pick up those Wisdom Runes, and I mean, quite frankly, like, you look at Yamsun, he's stuck at level 3. Bignum is at level 4, but as a Marcy player, you want to hit level 6 ASAP, and well, but just a bit of a slight error there, just giving those up for free. Bottom lane, they'll make the jump on Fade. Nice Ravage to fly out from Force. Fade still alive for a little bit longer, as now Wish has rotated, but Fade is gone. And in fact, Wish, he's rotated, but he has not found himself a target to jump, so he's got to TP right back into the mid lane. A failed rotation.
And a bit of wasted time from the side of Apex, losing quite a fair bit. You lose your off lane, you lost the Wisdom. You're getting, again, great movement out from MOUZ. Great first Ravage out from We Have Force just to secure that kill. Of course, this is giving a lot of space out to Sammy to, again, just free farm on this Alchemist. And he is getting a relatively, fully uncontested lane up top. But it does look like MOUZ understand there's some tempo they can play with here early.
Jumps in for the regen rune. I mean, he does not get it either. Narman was able to pick it up, and now both Astral Step charges have been committed. Supreme trying to get within range for a coil, but could not get there. So they'll leave the Void Spirit beat. The Supreme doing a little bit better in net worth comparatively to Wish right now, so things going pretty well for MOUZ overall. Of course, you do have a very slight net worth lead the way of Apex Genesis, but that is all because you've got an Alchemist after all. You do expect at the very least a slight net worth lead if you have an Alch. And that is the one bright side, I think, is Sammy is borderline free farming right now. There's nobody contesting the Alchemist.
Yeah, no one's stepping up into that lane again. Forced left to get some activity out. He hasn't even returned into that area. I think the one thing for Apex to really utilize this Alc is getting some stacks up. They are starting now. They've got a triple stack on the large camp, a double stack in the Ancient. So some good flash farm options now for Sammy. Mind you, there's a timing here for MOUZ. They're rushing into the Spirit Vessel next for Bengen, and once that's up, Sammy is going to be a sitting duck. Defensive items for Alchemist tend to come a little bit later on. You know, you get your full Radiance, which is still a ways off, and then you work into maybe a BKB if you're forced to. This might force him if that Spirit Vessel timing lines up here for Big Number.
Well, bottom lane, they're going to make the jump here on Bengun, and Bengun will definitely go down as Wish able to land the Aether Remnant quite nicely. That is just a position 5 Phoenix kill you're securing, though. They're not going to be able to get the tier 1 bottom tower yet, because of course Force is going to rotate and defend as the Tide. And sadly, even with the Ench on Apex Genesis' side, they really can't abuse the enchant too much right now. The Tide will just hold the lane indefinitely. It looks like they are just going to send Eidolons in to try and chip away at it. So it's going to be a very slow process here on these tier 1 towers for Apex.
Now, just not much natural push outside of what you can get from your Enigma here. And maybe a little bit for the Ench army as well if you get lucky. Still, you are happy enough to get time to, again, free farm. You're uncontested on Sammy still. Your top lane is just completely free. You've got some recovery coming in for Wish, who does clear out the large camp himself. A little bit slow going for our Void Spirit. MOUZ is now looking for a smoke commitment out. They do have Egg and Dream Coil ready. So Bengen and Supreme will try to connect. If they land onto Sammy, I mean, Chemical Rage is on cooldown for a little bit longer. He could just die.
It certainly could. They'll wrap around the Dire jungle. Oh, they're running right into Sammy as well. They haven't seen him yet, but the pings are out. They seem to have a pretty good idea of where he's gone. And Sammy, I mean, unless he keeps running, he's dead. And there you go. Sammy eventually will find out the hard way that they were indeed coming. He'll pop the Chemical Rage and try to fight back against the Egg, but does he have enough? No, he does not. Bignum trying to help out, but they still keep Sammy Boy alive. Sammy, he'll make it out another day, is now Benga, the one to actually drop it. Well, props to Apex Genesis, Jonathan. They got there very fast.
Yeah, they did. They get a good scan, clipping that smoke out from MOUZ just a bit in the edge, which leads to Sammy to walk back into the closer half of his top jungle. Gives enough time for the rest of Apex to kind of get in, and gives enough time for Chemical Rage to come off cooldown. There was a very small window there for MOUZ to jump him. If he was just by the tier 1, you might have had enough time before Chemical Rage went back up, but they missed that timing again, off the back of a very nice, if not short, scan from Apex.
Props to them. 2k advantage now the way of Apex Genesis, though again, doesn't really matter too much when you've got an Alc. Looks like MOUZ will just kind of sit back now and secure some farm. Of course, Olnit is certainly behind when it comes to the net worth department because he has been jungling since like minute 5, but you do see all the stacks being made here by Narman. All of those are probably going to go the way of Olnit. If not, they'll just give it to Force and just let him build up those aura items he really wants on the Tide. In fact, I say they're going to give it to Olnit, but apparently they're just going to farm it right now. Never mind what I said, John, maybe the Ancients.
Yeah, I think this is fine. Again, we talk about Puck a lot. We've seen a lot of Puck, and again, very recent qualifiers happening for other tournaments. They are going for the Witchblade build up on Supreme, and looks like they'll try again onto Wish.
They put the silence off. It's not going to last quite long enough, but the Dream Coil will be there to follow up. Aether Remnant will not land, and now Olnit. Nice little rotation with the Eclipse to ensure they secure the kill. And that'll be your top tier 1 tower gone. Mind you, Apex, they did find the bottom tier 1 already.
Yeah, evens out. It does provide some pressure, especially into where Sammy would like to farm. He has switched gears into the triangle with Radiance up, though. So that farming pace for the Alc shouldn't slow down, if at all, as long as they can protect this area, which is still a relatively... with both of your tier 1 standing on mid and bot. Not the easiest spot to rotate into here for the side of MOUZ. 9-5 still, 2K lead coming out from Apex solely on Sammy for the most part here. Wish starting to lag a little bit behind on that Void Spirit, but does need more items up. Seeing the commitment mid now from MOUZ, just sticking Force forward. He does have Ravage ready, so he will want to commit on the Tide. We'll have to try to get chain control onto him. And again, they did buff him up just a little bit. Getting the Dispel off to a lower threshold here for the Tide does provide that window for him to still look for the Ravage. They don't even bother. And you get the tower advantage up now for MOUZ. Their triangle, again, still uncontested. And this time they'll hand these fresh stacks over to Ulnit.
Very nice. That's what you love to see. And Ulnit now is just going to catch up so darn quickly with all these stacks. It's like Force will help out, if not just take the farm for himself, and he does. So Ulnit's not getting the stacks, John. That makes 2 of us wrong here. Is Force will take them.
Yeah, this is
sometimes
classic
you just
Force.
can't win.
No, but this is classic Force, right? Okay, all the way back to Polaris, he would get priority. He would farm up a little bit more, often than not. Take it away from his carry, his mid, from Mac and Natsumi back in the day. This is a good investment, though. It does look like he wants his shard fast. That leash is going to be big in holding back, say, the Void Spirit in particular, but even stuff like the Marcy, getting the chase down on the Alchemist is going to be a lot easier once that Tide shard is up. Another bit of a smoke out from MOUZ, but they're not going to force the issue too far. They have good forward vision seeing Wish, but there's also vision coming out here from the side of Apex, and they didn't want to have to break their smoke in the low ground. So again, buying time on the side of Apex. I will say this lead is not as big as you'd want it to be on the Alk at 15 minutes. He is rushing the BKB here on Sammy. Again, some protection against the chain control coming out from MOUZ at the least.
Bottom. Bignum, he's been jumped. He just committed rebound as well, so it's hard for him to find a way out of this one. And with the silence, it's almost impossible now. Supreme will secure a nice easy pick off for himself on the puck. AirPods 4 kill, they'll take it. It's been a bit of a quiet game here between these two teams. At what point do you think that MOUZ starts getting a little bit concerned about Sammy missing all this time? Because he does have Radiance, he's going to build into a BKB in just about 10 seconds. At what point do you think MOUZ say we need to try and sort out this out?
I think once the BKB is up, that's when we'll start to see some activity out from Sammy. I don't know if you're really concerned, though, about the Alk. Like, yes, there's good healing. I think you're actually a little bit more concerned about, say, maybe Wish being disruptive. Maybe this Marcy scaling into a secondary core, like Bignum getting BKB is massive.
Force, Black Hole committed. Force has been caught. There's no help around him either, but he is a very tanky boy, but they'll take the kill. A very nice one from Frayed. I can always appreciate somebody who doesn't hesitate to just pop Black Hole on one, especially considering how farmed Force was at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's an impactful kill for Apex, but that's your sole teamfight contribution now on Apex gone. So you're going to be... You're not going to take any fight if any breaks out. Mind you, Apex hasn't been looking for big engagements anyhow, but MOUZ could try to capitalize in 5-man off the back of that cooldown. They're starting to work into their own big items. Manta coming out for Ulnit into his own BKB Butterfly. Just wants to kind of scale up, have some missed chances for Apex to have to contend with as well. You've got the Blink already up and running here for Supreme on our puck with a Witchblade. And again, for Force, he's working onto his own Blink, did buy out his own Shard. So again, once that Blink is up on Force, if you can find it before Black Hole comes back off cooldown, you're in a happy spot. But Apex, all they want to do is stall the game. And that's enough to stall it out for a little bit more time into those BKB timings, into Blinks. BKB for Sammy is done. Looks like he will just soak up some more farm. MOUZ, this is when they need to capitalize. Again, if they're all, they need to just commit somewhere, use their spells, lots of AoE control, lots of teamfight that can come in.
They've made the jump, but they've only really found Yamsun thus far, and Yamsun is going to survive quite easily, as Force is jumping in quite aggressively on the Tide. But he is Tide Hunter, so still feeling very confident with his team right behind him. So they might just have to settle for the tier 2 top tower instead, for the side of MOUZ. Chase on for Supreme in the mid lane, but it's just Fade, and again, he does not have Black Hole, so chances are they can't find the puck kill. They are going to smoke up. I think the Fade may have revealed their smoke, though. They'll run south, nobody's around the area from MOUZ Esports. Supreme is kind of wafting into the direction, though, but I don't think they can really kill the puck with only 2. He'll run into Yamsun, but of course Yamsun cannot do anything. against his hero, so Supreme perfectly fine to get out after picking up the bounty. Meanwhile, Force is just casually taking a tier 2 top tower. Which is pretty Force, isn't it, John? He tends to do this. Just run up by himself and just hit towers.
And then die.
They're going to jump in, though. Or does he? Disruption. Eclipse out. Sammy, he's going to keep moving forward to Force, but Force, he has Ravage and he's ready whenever. He'll wait out the BKBs. His Apex, they'll get hit by the egg of the Phoenix. Force looking to go back in perhaps, but they are very cautious now as the Ravage is going to fly out. It connects on 3 targets. Here comes Fade, but the Black Hole is still on cooldown. Nothing to play with yet as Olin going to go for the man fight as the Dream Core comes out, taking down Fade. Bignum also caught out. Will go down. Sammy on the run, but the Chemical Rage going to wear off at the worst possible timing. Thankfully, though, he does TP out, as there is no cancellation for that TP. But John, that's 2 down for the price of nothing for the side of MOUZ. And I mean, honestly, you could kind of see that coming. You know, once Sammy Boy's BKB wore off Force, he turned around immediately.
And it's all down to this egg positioning out from Bignum on the high ground, right by the ramp, cut off by Force. And that commitment they were pumping out onto the Tide. And this Tide Hunter is a lot tankier to have to contend with.
Looks like they might have to settle for Narman, and they will pick him up. So the Shadow Demon does go down, but it's a pos fork. They got your tier 2 top tower, so MOUZ are going to leave very, very happy with that. And if you're Apex Genesis, you're starting to get a little bit worried. Because it does start to feel like the arc timings are falling a little bit flat.
That they are. And they need to be able to find these fights in much more favorable positions. Trying to bang it.
Just going to go for the TP play out. Oh, the dispose. Bignum had it, but he couldn't quite get in there as Wish blocked the tree line, so he couldn't walk there, and Rebound was on cooldown. A little bit unfortunate for the side of Apex Genesis. It is what it is. You move on.
That's all you can do. I think for the side of Apex, it's a little bit concerning that your Alchemist draft still is only about 1k ahead compared to MOUZ right now at 20.5 minutes in. That means your Alch net worth lead is coming at a huge sacrifice to everyone else. The cores of MOUZ are keeping up in relative ease, which is, again, it's something that the Luna does very well. It can platform almost as quick. You only have a 4k gold advantage in comparison to the Luna right now for the Alchemist. It's not quite that overwhelming item lead that you'd want here for Sammy yet. He does have his own Manta up, so he doesn't have to pop BKB if, say, they commit with some of these debuffs. The Spirit Vessel is going to be easier to manage. He has a safety net after BKB fades away here for Sammy. But it does feel like he still needs more. I think, again, this maybe lands into the other heroes more. Like, you want this BKB up on fade. There's nothing to break BKB in this game for the side of Apex Genesis, so the Black Hole is going to go off once that's up. Blink BKB feels almost necessary for Fade to kind of have a good time. You're also looking for this Ags timing to come in from Wish. These two heroes feel a little bit more important to set up for the Alch, and right now they just don't have the gold to provide these openings for Sam to just play as that big be-all and all carry right now.
Yeah, I was going to kind of add on to your point, but you already kind of did. The game does not feel like it's, or at least the state of the game does not feel like it's Sammy Boy's fault. I mean, Sammy's doing his job, but his other two cores, you know, they're falling a little bit behind. You know, most of the activity they've had hasn't been too successful, and MOUZ have just been taking advantage every chance they get. So, see if Apex can kind of fix it here for this game one. Of course, we are going to have a small pause out while we do have a disconnection on to Narman. So there is a bit of a chance to try and talk about how to make the comeback that they're looking for. I mean, I call it a comeback, John. It's not a comeback. You know, the game's not that one-sided yet, but you get my point. By the way, while we do have a pause on, John, we were talking about Shadow Demon not getting nerfed a lot. Another hero that I was quite shocked by that didn't really receive the biggest nerfs was Ench. I was like, well, Ench got the Wisp facet nerfed, the Nature's Attendance facet, and I was like, well, I actually don't think that's the better facet anymore anyway. Yeah, I actually do believe Spellbound is the preferred facet for Ench players now.
We still see a lot of overprotective Wisps. I think it just makes maybe going for the Spellbound a little bit more plausible. But overall, I think it's relatively fine. I think, again, like, sub-patches, we're not going to get big sweeping changes. I was expecting a big sweeping patch I think that's overall my expectation post TI is not a sub patch. I figured we were gonna get, you know, good old Kez in, Act 4 in, and a big gameplay patch on top. Not yet. It will come. For now, it's just tiny touch-ups. I mean, hey, you know, even if Ench wasn't touched down enough to be taken out, at the least, you know, Mirana, Wind Ranger, not as first phase pickable now, which is always nice to see, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Ench doesn't feel too unfair to play against. You know, it's actually skill based, whereas, you know, Wind Ranger Mirana was not so skill based with the way they were. Happy to see the two gone, at least for now. You never know, John. We'll probably see it a little bit later on. A Supreme might see the side of Apex Genesis very soon. They are wrapping around with a big smoke. Supreme looks like he might have an idea they're coming. But in the end, Apex, they will not really find him anyway. And now there's a counter smoke from MOUZ. Right by the bottom lane. Force is going to show himself, hoping to bait Apex in. Apex are thinking about it. Sammy will reveal he's by the jungle. He'll drop the acid spray. MOUZ have not wrapped around yet. They are still further south of Force, but now they'll join Force with the smoke. Olnett will lose his courier, which did have the Talisman of Evasion on it, which is a bit unfortunate because that was the full butterfly up, but nevertheless, here we go. Jump is there. They found Wish already on the Void Spirit, and the Eclipse has been popped through the Dream Coil. Ravage committed, but the Black Hole catching up the tides of the Disruption. It will save Force for now. Olnett, though, in trouble. Olnett is down. Force trying to go for a run. Force barely surviving, but for how long? The chase continues here from Yamsa. Bengun is the next target on the Phoenix as well, and Bengun certainly looking to drop now to Sammy. In fact, Fade will be the one to pick it up. Force still trying to get away from Sammy Boy. Gets onto the high ground of the Twin Gates and does make it out. So it is going to end up being a 2-for-2 trade, but this was certainly quite favorable for Apex Genesis.
And it was. They managed to get that big BKB reveal off from Fade. Again, we were talking about this. It feels like it's the other course that sets up for the Alchemist to have the conditions for favorable fights. This time around, it's off the back of this black hole. A little bit awkward for MOUZ. The positioning coming out from Olnett there. He was trying to get right clicks off, but he was standing right next to the black hole. Just led to a very nice dispose to come in from Bignum to look for that pull in for the Luna. And just an instant burst down again. A little bit unfortunate for MOUZ, but great signs of life out from Apex. We are starting to see the power of their composition when they do manage to play in a team fight setup that they would prefer. Like, yeah, there's so much importance in actually trying to stop this Enigma. And because of the BKB for Fade, he is pretty much guaranteed just a free black hole every single time until you hit level 25 in Supreme, which is still a long ways off in this kind of game.
I think the really unfortunate part about that fight as well, and I did briefly mention this, but they lost the Courier of Olnett with the Talisman of Evasion, which would have completed his butterfly, which I don't necessarily think would have changed what happened, but with that other evasion, you never know. It may have made all the difference.
Would definitely have done a little bit more for sure. Maybe you'd have enough damage to try to DPS right through the Enigma outside of that black hole, as I believe that was what Olnett was trying to achieve. At the very least, Apex aren't able to just rip into Roshan just yet. They are in position to try to force something, and they do have wards watching forward in case the side of MOUZ do decide to just walk into the pit and commit. They always have turnaround play potential, but not for at least half a minute, not until that black hole is back up on Fade. Do have the full Ags done on Wish, so it's a little bit easier for Void Spirit now to catch out. And that's where things get scary. With the BKB on Enigma, with the Ags up on Void Spirit, into the BKB next, your team play on the side of MOUZ becomes a lot harder to pull off, as we do get the instant go-ahead from Sammy, maybe a little bit of a misclick.
It happened. A bit of a shame, like, for Apex Genesis. They started Roshan, they couldn't finish it, now they leave it. MOUZ, of course, just jump in and gladly take it away. And this is, I don't believe this is something you really want to give away with the draft of Apex Genesis, especially considering you did win out the last fight, but they just can't do it quick enough. So MOUZ, they'll take it for themselves, and there was no answer from Apex because they still had Black Hole on cooldown. So they weren't interested in fighting around the Roshan pit.
Yep. Just have to kind of tried to sit this one out or tried to bait something out again, although...
Yeah, Binked he did get anchored up here by Force, so there was no real way of getting out of that one. That dead in the water, very annoying to have to play against, and Force will utilize it to its maximum potential, I am sure. As MOUZ now, with the Aegis up, it looks like they want to be aggressive, and you can't quite blame them, John. Olin's looking very strong right now on this Luna, as he does lose another courier, but thankfully for him, that was just a Wraith Band TP. Not a big deal.
Not the biggest thing to lose out on. BKB still a recipe away anyway in farm, so could maybe line up halfway through for your respawn.
Supreme.
Still?
Supreme, he's BKB'd up. The black hole has been committed by Fade, and the rest of the cavalry are incoming to try and pick off the puck. Can they get him though? Supreme. He'll get into the tree line. Yamson's having a gander around, and he's going to find Supreme eventually, but again, the jaunt away will be there from Supreme right into Fade. The chase is on. It's Tom and Jerry all over again. So they've got the 8th Remnant this time, surely, to lock down the puck. And that'll make the black hole kind of worth it, but the problem is you're losing your T3 tower in the meantime. They lose about 1/3 of the T3 tower's HP, and, well, they also commit black hole for the puck, so... I'm not sure if you really consider that a huge win for Apex.
I wouldn't say it is. It's a rough spot now. Sammy?
Oh, this is a really rough spot. Sammy's gone. Not expecting them to stick around. And now Yamson, who was just hanging about with his carry, does go down. And, well, remember that T3 tower I told you about, John? Now it's definitely...
Yep. Oh, yeah, for sure. Again, it's... I don't know how you turn this around right now, though.
Bigman. He's trying to go for a bit of a boxing match here with Olin, but that's not going to work out. Olin's cheating with some glaives. Not very fun at all. They're going to try and slow this down as best as humanly possible, and by the time for Sammy to be able to respawn, absolutely zero chance of buyback. Sammy's currently holding about 40 gold. So now they do jump in onto Yamson, who did buy back for this. Wish will jump in onto Olin, trying to burst down at least through the Aegis, but it's just not panning out for him, as Force is just casually holding everyone else back. Nobody can deal with the tide. They just don't have the damage nor the disable. Now MOUZ, they'll casually walk out with the Aegis intact and with the T3 and racks gone.
Yeah, you just, again, have to be very careful with your commitment to Black Hole here. It's your only big teamfight tool. Like, yes, the Void Spirit with the Ags is somewhat annoying. Look at the confidence and Force just wing forward, and they're all just backing off from a tide without Ravage. But that's just a game state. Like, you are so reliant on this Black Hole to actually take these 5v5 engagements on the side of Apex, and it goes back to what we were talking about in draft. Just when it comes down to maybe a later game circumstance, the Luna can match an Alchemist, in fact, even surpass him with equal net worth. You've got Ravage, you've got Dream Coil, you've got Egg. You have so many more tools at your disposal here for the side of MOUZ in comparison to Apex, who again are just very reliant on either a rebound pick-off with the Void Spirit following through with a jump in, or just the Black Hole catching at least 2 here from Fade.
BKB now up on Olin, going to make life a lot harder for Apex Genesis, that is. Of course, Olin going for the Kanda build-up up next as well, which is pretty standard. Start on the T3 tower, but they are lacking a creep wave, so time to retreat a little bit here, Olin. But he just goes back for the creep wave now, Olin feeling ultra confident. 45 seconds left on this Aegis timing. I mean, at this point, you probably just don't mind if they take it off you. Just get the free reset.
Yes, it's dying to glaives. Jeez.
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a scary fight to initiate, because you can't see anyone but Olin. Nobody else showing. They're all just hiding in the tree line waiting for the jump to happen. Olin just standing his ground. 15 seconds now left on the Aegis. And they're not going to take him out. They're just going to leave him very, very low, hoping he makes a mistake, but Olin, he will be able to retreat. You just use the Mask of Madness to reset in the Ancients.
Yep, no problems here for the side of MOUZ. Aegis will expire. Well timed here for MOUZ for a little bit of a reset, but no secondary life to back them up on a high ground siege. This is a little bit of an opening for Apex if they can try to find a fight again where you get control onto 2 from Fade. it's just a lot harder to see those opportunities. They do have some sneaky wards not spotted out here by the side of MOUZ. One watching the river, one watching that bot jungle right in the middle. But they need to be able to gap close into that area. A small smoke out from Apex, and you've got Blink BKB for Fade. They just need to find an angle. You catch two, you probably buy yourself a lot of time here on Apex.
Absolutely. The smoke is out. They're going to try Apex Genesis. They'll leave Sammy in the mid lane. Sammy not going to get jumped by MOUZ. Apex Genesis, it's up to them to try and find out exactly where MOUZ Esports are, but they're going the exact wrong way, sadly. I mean, MOUZ hanging around on the left side of the map. Apex Genesis going to the right side. In fact, they'll just actually re-enter their own triangle and just let Sammy Boy farm. So this smoke's certainly not going to work out. But this one might. A counter smoke now from MOUZ. I have a funny feeling they're not going to be waiting around on the low ground, Jonathan. They could always go straight through the bottom lane into the Dire base if they so wish.
That they could. Apex? Oh, this is some bad timing. They just cleared Tormentor as well.
Oh no, they're running. It's running right into them too. He's going to find himself Fade. Fade will pop his BKB, but that's going to be a BKB committal without a black hole. So now you've got the cancel. And Sammy forced the BKB himself as well. That's a real shame, John. Because now this high ground defense might just turn to Megas. Because you don't have two BKBs on the two heroes that really need it.
Oh yeah, you have a lot of leeway for MOUZ. You can have Ravage breaking the black hole, Dream Coil, Disruption, anything goes. This commitment out from Fade and Sammy is just going to cost them at least one Rax, probably more. No reason for MOUZ to back off. They should know they still have at least a minute window here, and Ulnet has damage to back this up.
Here we go again. Tier 3 top tower. Final lane of Barracks standing. Yamsun, do not die to those damn glaives, sir. They'll make the jump in. Coil is out. They caught the Void Spirit with that. In fact, they'll throw the anchor as well, but Bignum, he snuck in from the back. The problem is Bignum is just dying. Sammy trying to go after Bengun, but he just doesn't have the damage output. Eventually, Wish will take care of him, but now the black hole immediately cancelled. Ravage and Disruption out. And with that, can they actually deal with Ulnet? Ulnet's still going for the man fight here, but he eventually should die, but he takes down Sammy with him. It's a triple kill for Ulnet. When you do eventually get the Lunar and you put a stop to this push, but it feels like it costs you so much.
Costs you so much, but that's probably the best outcome for Apex, considering anything else that could have happened there. A little bit separated in the fight was the side of MOUZ. They were pretty much by the tier 3 and right below, and closer to the team banner here on the low ground, and that just provided a clean angle for this black hole to catch in the back line. They had slow and steady poke damage coming in from Yamsun. Wish pops his BKB as well. Rather unfortunate. Drops on the ground, puts it back up. It happens. Maybe trying to swap items around for a charge.
That's all right. That's all right. You know, it's still got 8 seconds on it. That's fine. Just have to wait. Hope that that MOUZ aren't aware that you just committed that brand new BKB you just bought. Ulnet will be back up in 15 seconds, but knowing MOUZ, like, they're playing very clean right now. Although I think they could easily just go high ground again and just take it without black hole up. It's probably more preferred they just go for the next Roshan play, which is up in about 18 seconds.
Yeah, that's the safer play. That's the kind of play, you know, a team like, say, Aurora would do. Fortunately, Mike, I do not think MOUZ thinks the same way. I mean, again, they forced that high ground without Aegis anyway, beforehand.
Aurora would wait for the 10th Roshan.
Yeah, exactly, right? And MOUZ isn't that way. You know, Quia Force gets bored, Michael Phoenix. Quia Force does not like waiting. Narman does not. Well, Narman's a little bit more sensible than Quia Force, but, you know, he still has that Southeast Asian Dota style after staying in the region for so long. So I'm sure they've got a read on their advantage here on MOUZ. For Apex, I mean, Black Hole's still down for 50 seconds. You have BKB, but what good is that without the Black Hole? Not much. Roshan is up, so you could go for the Rosh now into the high ground, which, again, at least you're not waiting for Rosh respawn. The timings do line up here for MOUZ. And Apex do not have the forward vision to back this one up. They have vision into their top jungle, but not close enough to the pit to really get anything meaningful here.
Full Satanic now up on Ulnet to make matters worse for Apex Genesis. I mean, they have smoked up. They are going to make it in time to contest Roshan, but Force is holding the Twin Gate high ground. In fact, he jumps in. Hex is out. He caught the out, and now the Ravage. It's caught 3 targets. Sammy already half HP, but he does get the ulti off and run. Bignum is down. Wish in trouble. Right underneath the egg. He will get stunned up. Wish trying to find a way out of this through his BKB. Will still run, but the chase is on for the Void Spirit, and they've got him. Wish is gone. Sammy running around in circles trying to find a target. Fatal jump into the black hole, but it's only on one. They only caught Bengan, and it was cancelled immediately. And with that, Apex Genesis falling like flies. They got Force, but it will cost them basically their whole team but Sammy. And now, screw Roshan, it's time for Megas.
Yeah, again, great read out from Force. Standing on the high ground, Sammy wasn't under smoke. So Force gets this angle in with a fresh side of Vice. Gets control to set up and just forces again early BKB out from Fade while Black Hole's down. Black Hole comes back up. Isn't that impactful in a very scattered team fight? Last set of racks to fall. 2 buybacks committed, but without the Black Hole, it just doesn't feel like there's anything to stop them. You just have to deal with the Mega Creeps.
Mega's incoming. And of course, you still have Roshan to go back to. He's still just sitting there with half HP, so now MOUZ making the most efficient moves here on this game 1 map. When Apex Genesis not out of it yet, but with this style of draft and with how far behind you've fallen now, it's gonna be pretty difficult to try and find an angle back into this game. But you're seeing a replay of that last fight, John. Just nothing seemingly going right. You know, Wish just unable to get any damage off, gets stunned by the egg. Fade only found a 1-man black hole, and that was onto the Phoenix. Almost found Olned on the edge there, but it wasn't enough, and quite frankly, I don't believe they would have had the damage output anyway. Just a very rough fight. Just nothing really going the way of Apex.
And it looked really awkward too. I feel like Sammy running back in, I don't know what he was trying to do, whether or not he actually wanted to force the fight or pick up the gem that was dropped there for quite a fair bit of time. Like, it looked just a little bit confused out from Apex, whether they wanted to sneak away, and just gave MOUZ, again, more opportunities here. Looking like our last fight left. Still a minute until Black Hole's up on Fade. And again, without that tool, there's just no threat, it feels like, here.
Absolutely not. Yamsun, he might just die to the Glaives coming in here from the Luna. Force does make the jump in. Yamsun trying to Hurricane Pike away, but is doing literally no damage here to Force. He is down as Olned now. Right onto the Ancient. Sammy is up, and Sammy is going to try. But a big Dream Core coming out, locking down a couple, and now the Rampage from Force will ensure the GG call will be committed here by Apex Genesis. And that'll be game 1 convincingly going the way of MOUZ Esports. Who's to take over as Forces accidentally used my voice line and your voice line. Did you message him, John? You did, didn't you?
You know, it just takes a little bit of poking and prodding and good old Kuya Force. That's all it takes. Good old Kuya Force has our backs, Michael Phoenix.
This is classic John X5. He does every time. He just tries to maximize the voice lines as much as possible.
You know, when I queue a game nowadays, I'm thinking, man, I gotta spam my voice lines. Gotta let people know it's there. You know, every time it's off cooldown, just spam it again. Spam it again. You know?
You have no shame. Where's your shame,
I have
Jonathan?
Zero shame. It went down the drain, Michael Phoenix. It's all gone. There's nothing. There's no shame for someone that has nothing left, Michael Phoenix. That's all there is.
That's rather depressing, John. But I understand. Don't worry. MOUZ, 5-man smoke up. They'll be by their tier 1 tower. There it is. Thank you, Force. Appreciate it.
He's enjoying that one.
Oh, man. Every year I regret making voice lines. Every year. It's just, I cringe every time I hear it. You know, I don't want to hear my voice in the game. Professional Dota 2 caster, by the way, here, John.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm sure most people wouldn't want to hear our voice in the game, Mike. It's all good.
No.
It is what it is.
That's why you should buy, because the enemy doesn't want to hear it. Go on.
3-1 start in favor of MOUZ, already looking like a stronger start, but you did have that nice flank from Apex this time. They plant a forward ward early on to ensure maybe no sneaky rotations come in. Taking a look at that mid matchup, though, this is something that we have seen. And again, in the most recent qualifiers we were watching there, Mike, I believe we saw Abed get some brown boots timings that made this hellish for the puck. Mind you, Supreme doesn't find First Blood, is going for the Wraith Band into Brown Boot still, so there's still that good timing for Supreme to try to bully out, and this just does not feel like a fun lane for Wish. You know, Monkey King has 7 armor, your right-click damage, harass isn't going to do much. Monkey King has wave clear as well with the Boundless, he has a threat with Jingu up. It's probably one of the lane matchup that Puck just doesn't really enjoy. So this is set to be a pretty good time for Supreme. I'm keen on seeing how much Wish can get out of this lane, as it does feel like, again, when we've seen Puck go into a later Witchblade blink timing, it can feel like the entire game pace for the team with the Puck gets slowed down by an extreme amount.
Yo, what's really funny, John, is you and I were talking during one of the games we casted in the road to the International. You and I were talking about Simeon Stride and how Valve could possibly nerf it. And I think I made the comment saying I don't think it's going to be a bad facet until he has to be 100% HP. And they've made it 95% now, and I can almost guarantee you it's still going to be the most busted facet in the game.
Pretty much. It's still good, you know, especially, I'm sure you're not going to be dancing around as often, but you're still going to be able to reposition, you're still going to be able to get into team fights. As an offensive tool, it's still insane for mid. Taking a look at the top lane, of course, again, there is some good aggression coming out. Ooh.
Yeah, Fade in big trouble. He'll try to run, but Olnett secures First Blood on the Medusa, and we haven't really talked about the side lanes, but this Witch Doctor Medusa can be quite scary because you go the Gorgon's Grasp into a cask into Gorgon's Grasp into Maledict, and you're in pretty big trouble if you are the enemy.
And you're up against a melee matchup as well. Much easier to land Gorgon's Grasp. You've got the setup with a cask, and this is banging at level 1 without any other skill point as well. So still holding on for the Maledict. Maybe Voodoo Restoration doesn't feel great when you're with a Medusa, to be fair. That is something that's probably the less impactful thing, but that does allow a more offensive Witch Doctor to shine through here. So I'm keen on seeing what Bengen wants. Of course, for Bignum and for Fade, there is some good aggression here. You can try to line up for a Bramble into Spearback. It's just 2 range heroes that you're trying to isolate as a Mars is not easy to get done. So you should be almost always safe here on the side of MOUZ. And we do have a Monkey King bug and a pause. Can't see the monkey.
Oh. I should clarify as well for anyone that was wondering. John Xfire pays for these voice lines and sends it to his sends it to the pros players. The pros are not buying them themselves. John is literally sending it to them so they can market us for free. Terrible, Jonathan. Terrible.
I think the worst thing is I'm the only person that does it. You gotta do what you gotta do, Michael Phoenix. The people must know.
Hustle. I respect the hustle, John. I really do. How's that bot lane going? Cheeky disruption onto Sammy, who is wearing the ugliest SF set I've ever seen. Of course, Sammy doing perfectly fine for now, 18-6 in terms of CS. In fact, I say perfectly fine, Jonathan. He's top of the CS sport, so he's having a great old time.
And he does go for the lasting presence that we've seen a lot of safe lane SFs go for nowadays. So there's a little bit more that you can get done after getting a kill. Can just easily snowball into just looking for a full team fight with all of that armor reduction. But that is one good thing here for our Shadow Fiend. Again, laning-wise, it's going a lot better for Apex in comparison to last game. Maybe not the mid matchup. You are starting to see Wish really start to lag behind Supreme. But that is, again, something that we have seen Monkey King excel at, especially once the Brown Boots timing is up. It's just not a lot of spacing for the Puck to play with. Like, that added attack range on Monkey King just makes it very uncomfy for a Puck overall. And look at this emphasis on mid. Grabbing away the water runes, ensuring Wish doesn't get a bottle top up. Not going to feel great for this Puck in the slow lane already.
Absolutely not. Wish having a pretty rough time. Yeah, the one silver lining, in fact, hold that thought, because top lane, they've got Fade again. And this is the combination I was kind of talking about. They are unable to get a Mystic Snake out from Olnett onto Fade, so he is going to survive. But he is left on about 160 HP, which is not exactly the position he wants to be in, because you've got another cask up on Bengun in 1 second. Olnett's going to have Gorgon's Grasp again in just a moment, and he's got level 2 Mystic Snake whenever. So chances are Fade's lane is over.
It pretty much is. And again, when you're a Witch Doctor with a Medusa, you can afford to not go Restoration. So you can afford to go into the Maledict.
Yeah, Supreme was getting very aggressive, and you kind of mentioned Abed earlier on, and this is pretty much what Abed was doing. Was just running down the puck mid lane, and there's nothing he could do about it.
Pretty much. He just, Widow's Brown Boots is just hellish for the puck to, again, just deal with it. Forced to walk back, TP back into lane. Again, a lot of space for Supreme. And nothing quite lining up here.
Well, top lane, Bignum does cop a cask and Melodic from Bengun, but it's going to be just fine. There's no real follow-up to the Shadowrom usage. 0-1, a pretty quiet game, but I suppose considering the drafts we've got here, John, you kind of expected, as I say, that Yamsun has rotated top lane, but they missed the spear. Olnet's going to be alright. Fade's the one in trouble now. Supreme's rotated over. Fade going down. Can they find Olnet? They cannot, Jonathan. Olnet's going to be just fine to survive, as now Bignum being chased down. Bignum, Melodic still ticking away. He'll survive for now. He'll find a bounty rune, but Narman with one more Shadow Poison should have the kill, and he's going to hand it over to his MK if he can. Bignum, though, heals up a little bit. He's still alive, but they will eventually hand over the kill to Supreme.
Yeah, it's a big kill for Supreme to just get to pick up by himself. Again, great reads on the map. So much mobility in the Monkey King, as long as he's above 95% HP. Of course, that making this kind of move really doesn't sacrifice too much in the laning presence. Apex has this idea to try to burst down Olnet while he's squishy, but there's just not enough damage. Again, the disruptiveness of this Witch Doctor in teamfights, the fact that he can invest in Maledict and the Cask. Let's make it harder. Try again, though.
They are going to give it another crack. Olnet already low in HP, so should go down as they do land the spear this time around from Fade. And that is going to be a nice, easy pick-off here onto the Medusa. Something you definitely wanted to see if you are Apex. And, well, again, Fade going to feel very good now because he can get back to the lane.
Can actually start to try to get some farm in, try to get some build-up on himself. We'll see if he can. There are some good stacks built up here by MOUZ just by their tier 1. Easy enough for their Dusa to clear out. Force is loving your voice line just so much. So happy to see it. It's good old queer.
I was going to complain during game 1 as well, saying I forgot how much voice lines Force tends to spam in a game, but I guess I can't complain anymore. Thank you, Force. Appreciate it, sir. Love your work. Not annoying at all.
Not. Still having a decent enough lane down bot. Again, you can't really stop the S from farming. I love that he hasn't gotten Infernal Blade whatsoever. They are trying to chase in. They've got Doom ready.
Oh, nice Hurricane from Force. Drags him back to Nama, but there's a lot of TPs incoming. They'll commit the Doom, they'll commit the Death Ward, and they've got the kill onto Sammy. In fact, they've even got Bignum. Quick rotation out from Supreme with the Simian Stride. And with that, it's a 2-for-0 trade in the favor of MOUZ. Wish still hanging around. Should be perfectly safe to get out. Yamsun, on the other hand, I cannot say the same for him. Force will just chase him down, and Yamsun, in the middle of nowhere, is eventually going to go down, and does. Supreme. Oh, there you go, John. Supreme gets the kill, and we get to hear your lovely voice. How about that?
You know what? Well, we should just stay quiet and let Force spam the voice lines. And I think he can actually just cast this game by himself.
Possibly. Sammy made a rotation up top. I thought he might have been trying to start into Olnet, but the sad reality is, John, Fade is not level 6 yet. He does just about hit it now, but no arena for when Sammy did make the rotation up top, which means they could not hope to get a kill.
Yeah, and he is lacking a little bit of mana here on Fade as well. Does have the Soul Ring at the very least, and they can make that commitment onto the tier 1. A little bit awkward for Olnet. His stacks are still there, so he can't afford to give this tier 1 away, but there aren't any numbers to back him up. Still, Apex aren't committing just yet.
There's a lot of fear, considering how fast you can rotate, especially with the MK, and here comes Supreme. He's TPing right in. Olnet has been jumped, but is it enough? They've got a lot of mana removed, but a nice boundless Sammy. He couldn't get the Requiem off. It'll be cancelled by Supreme, and now the chase is on. The side of Apex, they need to get the hell out of here. Supreme, still basically 1v5ing them here. Supreme! Never mind what I said, John. Supreme! I mean, I know game 1 was convincing, but Supreme, you can't 1v5. Not yet, anyway.
I mean, the idea was very sound, though. They were all lined up. If he just had Boundless off cooldown, that would have been an opportunity for him to just buy time for everyone else to come back in. He does save the life of Olnit, which I think overall is a worthwhile thing to have, considering that's a 5-man. They might be able to find a little bit more here.
Well, they missed the Gorgon's grasp. A little bit unfortunate from Olnit. Bengun gonna try and retreat. Yamson making his way forward, but doesn't quite close the gap. And with that, Apex not able to find what they really wanted, but they'll still just hang around the top lane and continue their farm. Speaking of farm, though, Narman and Force are having a great old time taking all these stacks away, and this is pretty much one of the bigger reasons why you don't want to give Shadow Demon away to anyone, really, because he just stacks so easily, and the comeback farm is kind of ridiculous. In fact, Force didn't even need the comeback farm, but now he's top of the net worth pool.
As is the nature of Doom, of course, it does have the gluttony facet on top of that. They are managing to siege mid. They do find it with all of the activity around. It's just, I don't know if that really matters for MOUZ as much as it would have if they didn't take these stacks yet. Again, stacks are already cleared out. The Ancients still stand at the very least. They find Fade as well.
Oh, that they certainly do. Fade does drop very easily here as Olnit able to secure the kill, but most of the damage was done by Bengun. Olnit, though, will he kind of sense the smoke rotation coming from Apex? He'll head back to his tier 1 tower. TPs are somewhat available, but no, he's out of position now. Coil's gonna land. TP's incoming. Does he have enough time to survive this? Disruption will come in. Narman, he's made it just in the nick of time. It's now Sammy. He's the big target. He'll get doomed up, and with that, it is looking like Sammy is dead. The Supreme will secure the kill. Onto Yamson they'll go. And Yamson, I highly doubt makes it out, and he will not. Tips out for Sammy this time around.
Yeah, they get that timing again. As long as Norman's first to TP, he'll always get the disruption. You've got quite a fair bit of mana on Olnit. I want to point this out as well, although they are keeping that chase. Puck is a little bit slippery. I want to point this out. The build-up on Olnit. And normally, again, we've seen Arcane Boots on carries. I feel like Deuce is the one carry that would want to still go Arcs, but he does opt for Power Tread's double null instead. So even our Medusa adapting to the Arcane Boots nerfs, which is fair enough, gives him a little bit more right click. The nulls can cover your mana regen early on. You don't have the potential for flash mana anymore, though. But it is consistent for Medusa anyhow, so I can see the value here for Olnit. It is doing work in just not taking him away from his tier 1. Like, he has not left this area top. And the side of Apex have just been trying to apply pressure, even dragging Sammy in, but the response from MOUZ is just strong and clean. Again, you've got these flank angles that the Monkey King can always find. You've still got your triangle despite losing your tier 1 because all the emphasis is up top. And you're still farming up a storm. 5k lead for MOUZ, 2-9, 13 minutes in. You're going to start to hit this point where damage is going to be an issue for Apex, especially once this pipe is up on Force. Like, you are reliant on Magical Burst at the moment.
Absolutely. Another smoke rotation coming here from Apex. Up back towards the top lane they go. They'll just continue trying to hunt Olnit. Fade is ready with the arena, just hanging by the Medusa as we speak, but TPs are back up and available here, Jonathan. This could be another scary initiation, because Narman's right behind him, ready with the save. They've got to deal with the Shadow Demon first. Olnit, he's going to get jumped. They will have the arena. Narman still gets the disruption off in time, so there's no real follow-up to the damage output you needed, as now Bengun does get caught. So does Fade with the Demonic Purge. And Fade certainly looking to die here as Force will not leave him alone, but no, they see Sammy instead. Requiem out from Sammy to try and give them a bit of space to get out of here. Bignum is down, and Sammy, well, he saves his Mars, but he gives his own life away. It's like Fade was definitely set to fall. The Requiem does say Fade. Problem is Sammy was the much bigger target.
There he is, just a higher tempo hero on that SF. And the sacrifice is being made by Apex, just not lining up. It's rather curious. For a second, I almost thought that he didn't have Bloodsport here on Fade. He does get spotted out.
Boy. Yeah, I mean, I said Fade was alive, but Force is not going to leave him alone now, taking him down very easily with the Scorched Earth and the Hurricane. And this game number 2 is not getting any easier if you are Apex Genesis.
No, it certainly isn't. think your comeback potential as well for Apex scaling into the later game. Again, it's not like SF is a bad hero to scale up with, but it does feel like his strongest points are in the early to mid game, right? Like he pops off really hard with early magic damage, with a lot of physical bursts as well, presence with the Dark Lord. None of that's lining up. Feels like the angles being found by Apex just aren't clean enough. Maybe if they can tie this initiation a little bit easier for Sammy, like if he can be just there when the arena pops, it starts to get easier. But as a right-click SF, you don't tend to go for that blink. So it's not feasible for him to just always be aligned with that movement out from Fade. 2-12 holding up for the side of MOUZ, as they are just set to look for more. Wish still doesn't quite have that blink, and Force does have the Doom ready with the full pipe. So they have full confidence to just take these engagements. And where's the damage coming in when that pipe is up? You just don't have enough physical yet.
Force jumps in, Hurricane is out. Does want the Willow, and they get a very nice balance strike here from Supreme, landing on 2. You do have your blink up now on the MOUZ, so some nice initiation coming in here for Apex Genesis. Problem is, they're losing their mid T1 tower as we speak, and what looks like bottom lane, they might want to set up onto Sammy. Sammy's alright. Instead, top lane is where they're going. Fade in a bit of danger, does at least get away with the defensive arena for now, but the Melodic is still going to kill him. Pretty unfortunate here for the MOUZ, and well, at least he didn't have his blink in his bag. So, you know, he doesn't reveal he has that item. That's the one kind of silver lining.
Yeah, it's something. You can still have that surprise initiation down the line. There's really not much silver linings here right now for the side of Apex. MOUZ just finding every opportunity, getting everything they'd want in terms of build-up. Allnet already has the Manta, going straight Butterfly. The right-click damage on Ardusa starts to get a little bit ridiculous at that point. On the side of Apex, it's just not lining up. Maybe when you hit some BKB timings, that's when things can start to be a little bit more feasible. Like, say, Sammy with his BKB on SF, he is going for Sanjin Yasha first. It almost feels necessary, though, to just go BKB. I mean, yes, there's still a Doom available. It still feels awful if Force will just target whoever is BKB'd up. At the same time, right now, even without Doom, you're having issues just looking for your angle here for any of these heroes. So, you need to try to find a solution elsewhere. Good old Force.
Thank you, Force. Appreciate the work, sir. Bignum. He'll be okay. No jump in from MOUZ. I mean, they are still playing with a Medusa, right? Like, the thing is, the longer this game stretches out, the better it's going to be for MOUZ. Allnet's having a great old time, top of the net worth board by a mile. And he'll have his Butterfly up very soon. And as you've seen in these fights, John, like, they can barely deal with him as is. Let alone once he has some core items up his top lane. Supreme, he's going to get jumped by Fade, but he's all alone. In fact, Bignum was there. It's like Bignum might be the sacrificial lamb here as Supreme. Is eventually going to find him. Terrorize is committed, but Force is right behind. Try for the TP play out, but Supreme is going to have the stun. And that is Bignum handing his life over to Supreme. And they're even looking at a Fade. I mean, Fade's still showing on the creep wave there for a second. The chase will be on. Can they find Fade? Is he even going to stick around? No, he will not. He should be fine.
You at least back off the core. But that is, a smoke blink reveal that doesn't pan out in trying to get an isolated Monkey King. And that would have been a big kill to kind of get the tempo back for yourself here on the side of Apex. So they're still lacking like that big opening they'd want. They do have their blink up on Wish, so the puck can be a little bit more slippery. Maybe directly connecting with Mars initiation now with his own blink. But the 8k lead for MOUZ, it feels overwhelming for the draft of Apex to just play into. Again, with this kind of draft with an SF carry, you have a need to be more aggressive early. You had the need to be winning these early team fights, looking for pickoffs. None of that's just coming in. MOUZ has just been very disciplined. They've had good reads. They've always backed up their carry when movements were happening up top, and we're just not seeing anything pan out right now for the side of Apex. Full Gleipnir up now for Supreme, even more hold. And Apex, I mean, They're moving as a unit. They've got Arena back up if they want to try something.
Well, Sammy, this could be the bait they require, but the problem is the team actually ended up leaving. They were right by Sammy a second ago, but they ended up going north, as now they'll jump in with the Arena, catching out the Monkey King. But do they have the damage up with the Supreme? Not quite yet, they don't. Narman, he'll save with the disruption. Terrorize out as well. Bengun is at least down. Still trying for Supreme. They will get him. But what's it going to cost? Force looking for a bit of a chase, does still have the Doom up, looking for the puck now, but the puck with the phase shift will survive, so he will blink away. Chase is still on for Nama, but Nama with the Glimmer Cape is going to be able to survive. And so they do get away with a positive trade. Apex Genesis are 1 for 2. They do lose their position 1 SF, but the goal change is still very nice in their favor.
That it is. It does feel like you'd really wish Sammy wasn't the first to die. Like, and again, you see the ideal circumstance there for Apex come in. Instantly, just get the Arena out with your puck following through. You get the control in the Arena. You don't have Narman lining up for a big save that time around. You get the isolation you really need here on the side of Apex to start winning out. The issue is...
Supreme jumps in, but it looks like he's just trying to harass him out. Go on, John, what's the issue?
I mean, the issue is, yes, you kill off this monkey. You have a Medusa issue. You have Medusa illusion issues as well, as you've got free illusions coming out from Narman. You've got the Manta, you've got the Butterfly up. How do you kill these things off when Olnet decides to just shove in the lane with illusions? There's really not much that instantly bursts it down here.
Absolutely not. Don't forget, I mean, you're going to have the Manta illusions, you're going to have the Shadow Demon illusions. You know, illusions on illusions, it gets a bit rough. And all that, of course, I mean, there's no stress here for MOUZ. Like, they've got a draft that can just keep farming. And they will just outscale you eventually. All that, of course, going for a Skadi build-up next into a Daedalus. And, I mean, but by the time the Skadi's up, this SF just won't ever be able to run. You're going to be forced to fight every time. And it's not going to be great for Sammy, who's currently being watched by Narman. And what a hurricane play from Force. Dragging Narman forward to get within range of Sammy. But it will not matter. He does use Demonic Purge instead of Disruption, so not really the lockdown they were looking for.
Opening for a bit of a play, though. They are smoked behind that tier 2 here.
But how fast can you burst on the down? Like, he's got an amp damage rune, he's got a butterfly up. Can you actually kill him? They're going to try, speed back, but it doesn't land onto a tree, and the Arena and the tower goes down at the wrong timing. Everything going wrong. And now, well, Yamsun, he will get stunned. I mean, Yamsun at the very least is not making it out. Sammy will try to fight. Meanwhile, a Doom committed here onto Wish is going to ensure the puck death, and Bignum will go down with him. A 3-for-0 trade in favor of MOUZ. And I would try to hype up the team fight a little bit longer, John, or a little bit more, but nothing really happened, John. MOUZ just kind of walked in and killed.
I mean, it's just such poor timing for Apex. They were in that smoke for so long. When they finally make the jump onto Olnet, the spear back into the tower's dead. Olnet's just free to waddle around in the Arena. No care in the world, has the opportunity to turn on Stone Gaze, and the rest of the team was watching anyway. Like,
oh, he's found Fade. The game sense from Narman. Finds Fade in the tree line. And Olnet is going to have plenty of damage to deal with him as they saw Sammy to boot. Clayton is going to lock him down. Hurricane forcing Samson back. But it won't matter. He's alright. Meanwhile, mid lane, Yamsun is not. As Bengun will just solo it down. With the Death Ward, of course.
Death Ward doesn't care for Enchantress all too much. Very easy combination to pull off here for Bengun to find that solo kill. 420 now. A very dank score line here for the side of MOUZ, as Apex not finding their openings. Again, at this point, I mean, Samson is trying to go for the MKB. I feel like the BKB is the bigger priority for him, but he is concerned about not doing damage onto the Medusa, which is fair enough, but I don't think you're going to be able to stand and hit the Medusa alone, even with an MKB without the BKB at this point. They're holding on to one more tier 2. I don't know if MOUZ particularly cares. I mean, Doom's back in 20 seconds.
Another nice clape near. Balance strike available. They've caught out Sammy Boy again. They're going to lock him down. Arena is out from Fade to try and help out as they're aiming down Force, and they might just have Force this time. Force finally will drop. Meanwhile, Sammy actually runs his way out. A great start here for Apex Genesis. Problem is, MOUZ are the ones still chasing. So they do get Yamsun, but that's going to be it. It's still a good trade for Apex Genesis, although they are losing towers while this is happening, but they've got to take what they can get.
Yeah, you take what you can get. A little bit unfortunate Narman couldn't line up for a disruption this time around. I don't know if they managed to try to get vision inside the arena. You couldn't get that save off. And that will give a little bit of a boon for Apex to stall for time. Mind you, MOUZ, again, they still maintain this lead, but it's a big gold swing despite losing 2 heroes for the side of Apex. MOUZ, for their part, could start to consider Roshan. And Scotty's basically done now as well on Ulnit. So more stats to play with for the Dusa. Still not that many concerns with the tier 2. I mean, still standing up top, so there is still some forward access here for Apex, certainly not forward access fast enough into the Roche. And MOUZ will just go for the safer play. Get that secondary life, do so with Aegis. I mean, it already feels like you can't kill Ulnit one time. 2 lives just feel like, is it even necessary for the Dusa to have 2 lives?
Probably not, John. But I'm pretty sure Ulnit will just take it anyway. Yeah, he's got 2 null talismans, as we know. They don't exactly, do anything anymore at this stage, so... At the very least, Apex Genesis, they do take the Tormentor. So Sammy's pretty happy about that. Bit of a win here for Apex, but they are giving up Roshan. So it is what it is. I doubt MOUZ will give a crap. Ulnit does take the Aegis for himself. And now, I mean, if you're MOUZ, I know we're still 26 minutes into the game, John, but I'm pretty sure Ulnit's just uncontrollable if they want to go higher ground.
I would agree. I just don't see any way you're killing off this Dusa 2 times over. I don't see you killing her off 1 time in first place. I don't know. It almost feels like you kind of have to just ignore Ulnit. Like, once he pops Stone Gaze, back off, re-engage, try to maybe get the jump on Force or Supreme first. And that's when the fight can maybe start to open up a little bit more for the side of Apex. Easier said than done, of course. They've got the Parasma up at the very least for some more poke damage from Wish.
Well, at the very least, Fade is standing there using the Bulwark to slow this push down, and it is certainly doing some decent work. Problem is, it's not going to stop the push. Ulnit is certainly just committed to finding at least the tier 3 tower, though a big jump in from our Puck into the Terrorize, landing on 3, but what's it going to do? That was it. Like, no Dream Coil. It was a cute kind of combo, but that's all it was, John. It was just cute. Spear. Maybe this will be the one. Ulnit. Lower than half mana now. Will still go to fight back in the arena, but is going down as Sammy Boy's damage upward. Surely does die and does the first time. That's a good start. Can they get him a second time? Sammy, the Requiem, did he time it properly? I don't know if he did. Ulnit, he's going to have to man fight through this. The Stone Gaze has been popped. The Wukong's commander's out. Sammy is gone. Yamsun is also dead. I guess it doesn't really matter whether he timed the Requiem perfectly, but it looked like he was a little bit off.
Yeah, just a tad bit early in that one. They do get punishment. They managed to find 1 more, but this is not going to stop Ulnit. Has enough mana left to still dig into the racks. Even Wish a little bit of danger.
Careful, Wish. Let's take it easy now. Alright, top racks is gone. Wish still trying. Ulnit is basically 0 mana right now. So Wish is still trying to find a way to kill him. Coil is committed. Maybe they can get him. Ulnit completely alone, but no. Never mind Supreme's here. Ulnit still in danger. Wish has not given up. But now the turnaround. Ulnit. Oh, they'll get him. Wish has got him. It's a nice pickup from Wish. And MOUZ, they leave Ulnit to die.
That they do. I mean, it's only really Supreme that can probably back him up there. Didn't have TP point access for the side of MOUZ. At least very quick TP access. Didn't manage to take the outpost there. And that is good punishment for Apex. They stall out high ground as much as possible. They do, in fact, find a way to kill this DOTA 2 times over. And that's just from Allnet standing forward for a good solid minute, copping straight damage from Sammy Boy with that full MEKB up. But you are still down at least one melee Rax. Range Rax just a blow of air away from falling apart as well. So Rax advantage out for the side of MOUZ. No rush to take for at least 4.5 minutes. There's an opportunity here for Apex to try to play outside. And look at this, even the build-up on Norma now has the Orchid up just to try to get control off himself and find Yamson.
Certainly do, Yamson. Nice spring. Does get into the high ground, but he's actually blocked by the creeps. He could enchant one if he really wanted, but it looks like he already committed it. Unfortunate. I mean, it happens, you know? Just enchanted a hero instead, and it is what it is. What can you do?
It is what it is. He forces out the BKB on Supreme, so down from 9 to 8 seconds now on the Monkey King at the very least. Now that's something. It's a little bit of tools being used up here. Good snipe out from Supreme. He should know Sammy was running in the area, but does run the wrong way as Sammy is already on his way out. Does manage to dodge out, and again, stall for time. At the least, for MOUZ's end, you're going to get the full Ags out and Allnet with a Shard, and things start to get silly once that is up, as there is a little bit more mana to play with for the Deuce at that point. You do have to kind of be concerned about that same play, that same initiation in, when you're all clumped up like that. One good reflected Mystic Snake bounce, and Allnet might not be in any danger this time around if that commitment does come in that way. Still, Apex, I mean, they're holding on. Again, they're doing a great job of holding on here. And they are still farming up tools. Sammy, opting to go for the butterfly next, is just gonna go all in on damage. No BKB. Knows that if he's caught out, it's probably just a lost cause. Anyway, you hit the crucial Octarine timing on Wish. So they will spot out Bignum.
Supreme. Nice little Gleipnir. Cancels the TP off, and poor old Bignum understands he's basically gone. Allnet will reveal the Ags pick up on the Medusa now, so even more of a nuisance here on this hero, and well, they're going through the top lane again. Now, mind you, they already found the melee barracks. The range barracks is at 50 HP, so Ulf just needs to hit it once. Bengun, he does jump in, does find Yamson, but the Death Ward is kind of wasted. Still, here comes Fade. They'll make the jump in onto Supreme. Supreme actually dropping quite low on the Monkey King, does try to run through the arena walls and does make it out. There's now disruption. We'll buy him a bit of time to try and reset. In fact, they'll even pop the Stone Gaze. So all of that, just to hit the range barracks once and get them down. Of course, keep in mind, Roshan's still at least 2 minutes away. So I suppose for MOUZ, it's either take that Rax or just farm.
Pretty much. Not a lot of options really to do. I mean, they've got control of the map. They can just keep farming up. But
Supreme,
at least they take tempo here.
The speed doesn't really connect on anything, but it won't matter. A nice pushback here from Fade. Supreme will drop to Sammy. That's a big pickoff. In fact, they even found Force now. Yamson getting some work done here on the end, just forces the BKB out from Force, and that'll be it. Force is okay.
Yep. They make use of that opportunity. They know the BKB is down in Supreme. They managed to find a big opening.
Waste.
Yeah, it's fine. Not the longest cooldown. He does have Octarine up, so not a lot of downtime for Wish to just kind of throw it out willy-nilly, even if it doesn't catch anything. Still lining up here.
On the arm, mid lane. Jump is down to Force. Keep in mind, he does not have his BKB ready for this one. But Fade doesn't either. Fade now trying to run. Is Bengun? Let's jump in for a cheeky Melodic, but that's literally about it. Again, I do believe MOUZ will just now patiently look towards that Roshan. Now, keep in mind, Sammy and Wish, they're not too far behind in the net worth department now, so you are getting to a stage where the SF Puck are becoming problematic. Which is definitely great news for Apex Genesis. But you probably want to try and fight for this next Roshan, I'd say.
They can't afford to just give it away for free onto MOUZ's end. It'll just lead into another high ground siege, another massive time commitment to just kill off Allnet the one time. Again, I feel like they have some good ideas here in Apex. There's still some way of just trying to ignore or isolate Allnet entirely and just try to clean up everyone else, or just focus all your resources with a very out of position DOTA and burst her down that way. We shall see. The tipping point for Apex is if they manage to hit, say, level 25 here on Wish with the Ags. Like, he is going to do a lot of damage. That Dream Coil DPS with a Parasma up, it's nothing to scoff at here from the side of Apex. Once this farm can get going from Wish. And Wish has been doing a fantastic job just keeping creep waves controlled, cutting off mid. He's got the mobility to ensure all the lanes are somewhat in check. Bot has been allowed through. So a slow poke from MOUZ at the very least, but not full commitment. Does drag everyone back here though from Apex, and see if MOUZ can make something happen off the back of that with her own smoke.
Well, there's a bit of a miss here for MOUZ because Roshan is up, and it was actually a 26-second timer, I do believe, so a very, very quick one. MOUZ maybe just not expecting Roshan to spawn that fast. And they could just go for it. Again, I don't necessarily think Apex will try to fight, but they probably should. The MOUZ will take over the Radiant Triangle instead for now. Maybe hoping for a pickoff to really confirm Roshan is a safe play. In fact, they weren't waiting for a pickup, they were waiting for an MKB of Olnit. Now they'll make their move up. Problem is, there is a smoking coming. Apex, they are coming as 5. They want to fight for this Roshan. If they could somehow find Olnit first, it'd be pretty amazing, but he's not that squishy of a target on the DOTA. They'll wrap around far left side of the map. They'll get towards the Roshan pit before MOUZ does. Nobody's seen yet from MOUZ. They do not see each other. MOUZ will get some vision down on the right side of the twin gates, but it's pretty far off the Roshan. Roshan started. Are they really going to get away with this? Because I think MOUZ just think the Roshan pit's empty right now. They'll move in. Wish is looking to hold him back though with a Dream Coil perhaps, and he does move in onto Force. MOUZ very hesitant to try and force a fight now. It's looking rough to get in there. Requiem has been popped as well, though a nice boundless from Supreme, but it will not matter. Aegis is picked up by Sammy, but Olnit, he might find it immediately. Sammy's down, and he's right in the Wukong's command. Horrible position here for Sammy to try and fight in. Fade will jump in with the arena, but Sammy is gone. Yo, you got Roshan, but it just immediately meant nothing. Zbignum will follow. Wish is down a boot. Fade is trying to fade away, but he is stunned through the TP. That'll be a 4-for-0 trade for MOUZ. And they will buy back on 2, but it's going to be rough defending without their SF.
Yeah, it's not going to be an amazing time for Apex. I'm a little bit surprised the way that fight happened. It felt like Wish had a good angle to break the smoke in the tree line. Your best play was probably just instantly arena and cut them off. Instead, Sammy commits to Requiem in the pit while everyone's still so far away, just to ensure the Aegis is picked up with no issue. And that just meant there was no follow-through for the fight to break out. So now you have security here for Olnit to just keep going. No worry in the world here for our DOTA, although mana is starting to fade away from the pure damage of Yamson.
Yeah, Yamson caught out. He is just going to die Melodict if anything. Does go down to Olnit. Wish trying to pick off this Witch Doctor, but Bengen's going to be okay to back his way up.
Ooh.
Fade trying for a spear back on Olnit, does not quite connect. And in fairness, Olnit is quite low on mana, so it seems as though the defense actually works out. It does cost them Yansom's life, but they hold on to the T3 tower, and well, MOUZ, they just don't feel safe to make that approach onto the high ground without the Aegis up.
I think it's also twofold. They commit their buybacks very early on Apex, so they understand if they don't find anything off of these buybacks, MOUZ are still in a very happy position. Like, you don't have to be too concerned. They commit very fast on buybacks. You already did some good chip damage on the tier 3. You can afford to sit back for a reset. You find an amp damage rune up and running on Supreme, so he could look for a pickoff if he so wished. Does not look like he wants to stay in the firing line, though. For Apex's part, again, the fact they snuck away with Roshan was pretty big. It's just, again, the fight is just not the kind of fight they'd want. Requiem in pit, arena kind of falls flat. You have to deal with a BKB up now on Olnit, so he's not going to care for that damage coming in from Yamson any longer. At very least, doesn't need to care about Dreamcoil as well. You're still level 23 here on a Wish. Quite 20 yet. Look at this position from Bengen. What a ward. Maybe thinking about trying to snipe someone.
Won't make the jump onto Wish, obviously. He would not have enough damage for that. Maybe just hoping for a quick support pickup. He's going to give the information over, though. Supreme will run into Bignum. Smoke is broken here on the MK, as we're seeing Sammy was not too satisfied with that last fight. Bignum gonna go down. At least they get Wish out of there. Wish will continue trying to creep skip.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can hope for right now in the puck. And that is how we've seen some puck games turn around, just from the stall that it can provide as it starts to itemize up. He's shifting away from the Ags now for Wish, just queuing up Lincolns, trying to stay protected up against Force. He knows that he still needs something defensive here to ensure that he can just play his game. Spear falls flat again from Fade. What?
Again? Fade? I mean, it might just be the pressure here, John. I mean, all that he has pretty much been standing still the whole time. Coil out, only landing on one. It's going to be the Witch Doctor. Bengan is still perfectly fine. He'll go for the Voodoo Switcheroo. Still has the Death Ward available whenever. Boundless Strike landing on 3 targets. They'll take down Yamson. He'll buy back immediately. Sammy, meanwhile, has been doomed by Force, and Force will just follow him right past the Tier 3 tower. Eventually looking to back off. Force may have gone a bit too far. Glimmer Cape will buy him a little bit of time, but the Spear is not going to help. Still, they do secure. Force is down. But can they really keep this fight going here, Apex? It seems like they can. Supreme now in danger. He'll be on the run. But Wish is chasing him down. Supreme, very low. Fade, looking for a spear. Doesn't quite land on the MK, but gets Narman. As now Fade does go down to Olnett. Olnett, though, dropping low on mana. Gonna go for the man fight against Sammy, but the Requiem, no, it's not enough.
Oh my.
It doesn't complete the animation. Bignum trying, but Olnett's still perfectly fine. Wish will jump in. Here comes Yamson. Yamson will get the job done. And they successfully defend high ground again.
That they do, and it's all pouring in now onto this puck. Wish is getting a lot out from all of these times spent in fights. Hits level 25, gets a Dream Coil, piercing, debuff immunity. So now you start to have issues. Like, yeah, you're actually way more concerned about this puck. Just the hold you have for the puck right now isn't amazing. You're very dependent on the Orchid usage. You're very dependent on just the Doom or a Boundless Strike to try to hold him in place. Maybe the Gleipnir shot as well to pop the Lincolns. But it is becoming a challenge to try to lock in Wish. That is their big issue right now. Like this puck weaving in and out of fights. The Lincolns pickup just going to be doing a lot of work as well. And I think for the side of MOUZ, you probably want a Sight of Vice on someone or anyone to come in to help this issue. Bengen's queuing one up. Norman just going for a defensive Aeon Disc in his own itemization here. But Apex are hanging on. Mind you, they still have a 16k net worth deficit to play up against. It's still a long road until they can start to think about the opposite side high ground just yet. But they are staying alive. And now it starts to become a game about the puck. Can Wish keep dancing around? Can MOUZ find a way to pierce through the Lincolns, get some chain control off onto Wish? Because it all hinges on this puck. If Wish somehow gets caught out, and it could also just end in a flash right there.
I certainly agree that this is the puck's timing. That's for sure. As we are seeing our Dark Willow Bignum almost dying to the Tormentor, but he will barely make it out. It certainly does feel like the game is resting on Wish's shoulders here.
Just what I was waiting for.
You're at the stage as well where you might start to think about just an Ags pickup here for Wish, but obviously still wants the blessing as well. Going to be a lot of gold needing to be committed. Group up is here though from MOUZ. They don't want to wait that long. They'll group up, go for a 5-man smoke. Question is if they can find a pickoff before they approach high ground. Oh, they could find Sammy. Well, they won't though. Sammy, he won't go get greedy running through the mid lane. Instead, they'll go into the triangle, but Olnett is right by their side. Yamson going for a D-ward, does get caught with his pants down, but a nice force stuff onto the high ground and a sprink away. They haven't caught Yamsun yet. Chase is on. Gleipnir will connect here from Supreme. Boundless Strike and Casters come out as well, and that should be Yamsun dead. Meanwhile, towards the south, though, Olnet is fighting by himself against Sammy. Sammy gets to the high ground. Yamsun still somehow alive. Should surely go down. Olnet, in the meantime, trying to go high ground. Yamsun's life will finally be lost in the meantime, as now Fade will be chased. Fade caught out. Narman goes down meanwhile. Sammy takes him out. A very split kind of affair. But it seems as though MOUZ will come out on top, as they are still continuing to just chase Fade down. But they'll have Boundless in one. They will miss the Boundless, and Fade, he gets out. Sentry placement from Bengun is there, but Fade is fine. Fade makes it out, but I can't say the same for Wish. And Wish was much more important than Fade was.
That he is. Makes... I don't know if you can really say he made a sacrifice. No buybacks left on Apex right now. Although it is coming back up for Wish in a few seconds, so he should be able to rejoin his team at the very least, but will not have anything like the Ags. And you can see again, this time they isolate Olnet. He still manages to get the BKB. Not an easy target to go for. MOUZ, they smell blood and water.
Max is going to go down pretty quickly. Wish does have buyback now available. He's going to do it immediately. Olnet dropping low on mana. Could be in pretty big trouble trying to run away. A Boundless Strike and a Dream Call is out. They still have the Medusa alive, but surely not for long. He's still dropping. They'll try to heal him up. Olnet, is he really making it out of this? The answer is yes. He's walking out. How do they not have the damage to just finish him?
Well, a really nice Glimmer Cape came in, and as we've seen in these two fights back-to-back, invisibility is invincibility, Mike LaPhoenix. Detection just not there. First it was the Trickster's Cloak of Fade. Now it's a Glimmer Cape coming out from Narman. That saves the day. Outstanding. It happens, it happens. There's no invis here, so you don't expect a random Glimmer Cape to pop out all of a sudden and suddenly to just get to bail out.
I feel like you do expect it, John.
I don't know how recent... To be fair, I don't know how recent Narman's Glimmer was. He did rush 4-staff Orchid, if I recall right. Okay. So it could be a little bit fresher. Fresher than it is, you'd assume it to be. So it can catch him off guard. It was really curious as well. Fade blinked in, instantly got silenced up by this accursed Mindbreaker, and just died. That is rather unfortunate still.
Oh, Supreme. Supreme has just died. Gets caught by the Twin Gates trying to get to the Roshan pit, and Supreme is down. Problem is, Roshan, it is still happening. And Apex, I don't know if they realize, but they don't want to go through the Twin Gates. They wanted to run up the old-fashioned way, and sadly for them, Roshan is now complete. Olnet will be able to pick up another Aegis. There's also an Ag's Blessing here for Bengun, who picks it up. And so they're just going to wait for Supreme to respawn. And I highly doubt Apex can do anything in the meantime.
No. They could try for a tier 2 if they really wished. Ags is passed along to Force, so AoE Doom on hand, simplifying the process to try to pin down this puck. And
speaking of that puck, John, Wish. Oh no!
What? Oh my goodness.
Oh no! So that accursed Mindbreaker you talked about, John, it did it again. But he blinked right into it.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, Like, Fade blinks into the Mindbreaker hit. Wish blinks in. Yeah, it's something you... Sometimes you just forget.
Did he not have Yules available?
I think he did. What really caught him off guard was probably just the Lincoln's pop into the sight of Vice of Bengen. I think that was really the big thing. So he doesn't instantly Yules, maybe doesn't expect anyone else to be hanging around would do so. And does get punished. No buyback on Wish, as he did buyback earlier on. Numbers advantage for MOUZ as Supreme is respawning in. And this is a very ugly situation. Without the puck, I just don't know if you can actually do this without Wish.
Now a full Swift Blink on Olnet. Sammy's working towards the Satanic as fast as he possibly can. Certainly will help his cause, but I don't think it's going to be quite quick enough. Refresher Orb, though, on Fade could make all the difference. We've seen these MOUZ plays, when they do land, it does tend to end up being quite effective here for Apex Genesis. Midrax is gone, though. Olna does take it down very easily. Onto the T4 towers he'll go, so just forgetting about the bottom racks altogether. He just wants to rush this game finish. Gets one T4 tower. Looking for a second, but Sammy will start to get to work here against Olnit. Problem is, Olnit is happy to 1v5. Apparently, his fate. No, the disruption. Perfect disruption from Narman. And now they've caught out the MOUZ. Fade will try to run, but the balance will land, and Force eventually cannot get the damage off. Force is the one to go down, but here goes the Ancient. Olna just focusing it right down. Fade, he'll drop the arena. They'll try one last time, but they're just being ignored completely here by this Medusa. Olna does not give a crap. He's right after the Ancient, and the game is over. GG called. Game 2 will go MOUZ's way, and that'll be...